You're Shifting Gears with Alan Bailey.
I really enjoy the smell of burnt rubber and race fuel in the morning. Sue me.
Whether it's NASCAR, IndyCar, NHRA drag racing, or AMA Supercross, we've got it.
I'm going to be unapologetic. I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and I'm going to tell it like it is, whether you like it or not. Get over it.
Grab a gear and let's go.
Well, is it time to go already? Really?
You're Shifting Gears on ARN. Here's Alan Bailey.
Very interesting program over the course of the next hour coming at you here right here on ARN. I'm Alan Bailey. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram and contact me through there at the Alan Bailey. Also use the hashtag ARNRace to get in on the conversation today. Lots of discussions. Obviously, the big topic of discussion, the topic that we were talking about on Monday's episode of the Pit Pass. The simple fact of the matter is that it doesn't matter the details, it doesn't matter the speculation. What matters is the simple fact that unfortunately, we do have a young man who has lost his life over the weekend. Kevin Ward Jr., 20 years old, sprint car driver out of New York State, unfortunately died on Saturday evening when he was involved in an incident with Tony Stewart. He got out of his sprint car after the two collided, and it sent Ward Jr. into the outside wall, spinning. He got out of his car. He walked down the racetrack into the path, or Tony Stewart drove into the path of Kevin Ward Jr., depending on what investigators still have yet to uncover, and it resulted in Stewart running over Ward Jr., sending him down the racetrack about 50 feet. Ultimately, Ward Jr. arrived at the hospital dead when he arrived there. He did die because of blunt force trauma, investigators announced. Kevin Ward Jr., he was only 20 years old. That's the important thing of this story. A 20-year-old driver, a 20-year-old person, nevertheless, lost his life over the weekend, and the racing community has reached out to the Ward family, and they continue to feel the pain and just the impact of this devastating tragedy over the weekend in upstate New York. Tony Stewart was in New York for the race in Watkins Glen over the weekend, but unfortunately, because the race was Saturday, he went racing on. The race was on Sunday rather. He went racing on Saturday night, just like everybody else does from time to time. Tony Stewart more often than most drivers in the Cup Series. So, more or less, he just continued to do what Tony Stewart does, and he continued to race sprint cars. That's what he does. That's how he ultimately, I don't want to say spends his time, but that's how he spends his time when he's not racing a Cup car. You look inside the racing community, just a heavy outpour for those in the racing community, especially in the Cup Series. We start right here with Jimmy Johnson, who spoke after the race on Sunday out at Watkins Glen about the tragic turn of events for Kevin Ward Jr.
I look forward to hearing Tony's remarks whenever he feels it's time to talk. And just feel for the family, feel for everybody involved. I mean, it's not an easy situation at all. So, and my thoughts and prayers are with the Ward family, and it is extremely difficult to watch. And I was shocked to even see it on TV to start with, but this is a very, very difficult time.
Absolutely it is. Dale Earnhardt Jr. also discussed everything that happened over this last weekend. He spoke as well after the race on Sunday about the tragic events in upstate New York on Saturday evening.
People die in racing all the time. You hardly hear about it in small tracks. So when it was, being that Tony was involved, it brought a lot of attention to it, and it just makes you hurt for the Ward family and their loss. You want everybody to go to the racetrack and have fun and enjoy what they're doing and go home safe, and sometimes it just isn't meant to be, and so my thoughts and prayers go out to the family, and I can't imagine how they're dealing with the loss, and I know exactly what they're going to be dealing with for the next foreseeable future, and it just my heart hurts for them.
It's truly a tragic, it is a tragedy whenever a mother and a father outlive their child. This is nothing short of a tragedy, and it's completely devastating to the Ward family. We at ARN are expressing our wishes and our desires to respect the Ward family in this time of crisis for them. We do want to tell people that even though Kevin Ward Jr. was killed on Saturday night, his funeral is set for tomorrow in New York. There is a candlelight vigil tonight for the 20-year-old driver. A lot of speculation, a lot of people that are just angry. His father, Kevin Ward Sr., spoke out today, and it really, I don't want to say it was inappropriate or his anger is unwarranted. It's very unwarranted. He's grieving. He's very upset, clearly. His son was killed tragically in an accident, and it just so happened to involve one of the best drivers in the world, Stewart. And he wants people to remember his son for his smile rather than the way he died. Kevin Ward Jr. was killed Saturday night in that sprint car accident, and investigators say that the investigation is ongoing. It's expected to take at least another 2 weeks, and as of Monday, the Ontario County Sheriff's Department, Philip Palau, said that no facts have emerged that will show probable cause for criminal charges, but Kevin Ward Sr. told the Syracuse Post-Standard that he was told from all of the racers at the event that were interviewed, that all the racers were interviewed at the event after the events, and Stewart also talked to investigators, but the statements were not made public. He told the Post-Standard, quote, "Apparently Tony Stewart was the only one driving out there who didn't see him," unquote. Now, there is a second video. There's a video up on ARN, the one that has been made public, the one that you can see on ESPN running every 5 seconds. That one has been made very public. There's a second video that has not been made public that investigators do have, and they continue to look at that into this evening. They will continue to investigate everything out at that racetrack in the events of Saturday night for the next 2 weeks, at least according to police. What's interesting is the comments that Ward Sr. continued to make to the Post. He told the Post earlier today, quote, "The one person that knows what happened that night is probably facing 10 years in prison. Is he going to say what he done?" Unquote. That's the big question. It's very interesting, this whole situation. Ward Sr. continued on saying to the Post, quote, "Tony Stewart was the best damn driver by far on the track that night. Why he had to go up that high as he did and hog my son, there's no reason for it," unquote. These are words of an upset father, a grieving father. He's going to say things out of anger. He's going to say things that might be irrational but might be truthful. I think that there is a little truth in this. Why was Tony Stewart up that high on the racetrack? Well, only one person really knows, and that's Tony Stewart. And I think that what Kevin Ward Sr. said about the facing 10 years in prison might be a little premature. Investigators are still investigating the situation and the events of Friday night, but they've said multiple times, and they've made it very clear that it doesn't look like there was any content or anything that led them to believe that Stewart did this on purpose or that he had some sort of foul play in mind. That's not what investigators are looking into. That's what obviously the Ward family wants out of this situation. They want to see Tony Stewart pay for, unfortunately, what has happened to their son. I don't necessarily think that Tony Stewart should pay. I think that Stewart, as a driver, has done everything that he needs to do. I think that he did everything that he could have done. You look at the video, the driver who was on track right before Stewart and driving right in front of Stewart came very close to hitting Kevin Ward Jr. as well. Is that driver being questioned as to where he was on the racetrack at that given time? No. You look at sprint cars, they're very limited in their vision. You look at it, you have the giant wing that's on top, you have dirt that's flying up and into the view of the driver, onto the visor of the driver. If you take off a tear-off, then that's one thing, but who knows? Was Tony Stewart looking down at his instruments? Was he tearing off a tear-off? Was he grabbing something to drink? Was he adjusting his seatbelts? Was he looking elsewhere on the racetrack? It's hard to tell. handful of facts that we know to be factual, the track was not well lit, period. That is a huge, huge piece of evidence. And another huge piece of evidence, the fact that Kevin Ward Jr. unfortunately was wearing a black fire suit that evening. A black fire suit on a dark racetrack often spell disaster. And unfortunately, that's what we saw over the weekend. And it's something that is going to continue to be an issue. Anybody who races on a Saturday night short track or a Friday night short track or races anywhere at a local short track, whether it's asphalt, dirt, or something in between, I say to you, simply put, don't wear black. Wear white. Wear bright red. Wear bright orange. Wear any color that besides black. Do not wear dark colors. If your sponsor's black, then approach them and say, hey, I know that black is your color, but can I wear something else, something that's brighter at night? Because simply put, black fire suits at night have led to deaths in the past. If you're going to sit here and ask me to rattle off names, frankly, I don't think it's respectable to the deceased of people who have worn black fire suits and gotten into incidents on the racetrack. Things like this have happened before across this country. It's not common, but it's not uncommon. Things like this have happened before. Is it something that's going to continue to happen? 50 years from now, I can almost guarantee you that we're going to hear the story about how one driver ran over another driver when he exited his vehicle. But simply put, it's not something that Tony Stewart did incorrectly. If anything, unfortunately, and I hate to say it out loud, I would put the blame with Kevin Ward Jr. He's at least partially responsible for his untimely death. As gruesome and grim and sick to my stomach as that makes me feel, it's the truth. Anytime a driver gets out onto the racetrack, they know they put their lives in jeopardy. It's a fact. This is a dangerous sport. We haven't seen a ton of on-track deaths in a race car in recent years because safety equipment has been so good. However, that does not mean that a death is completely inevitable. It means that deaths can happen. Will they happen often? Not as often as they used to, but it's still inevitable. A driver could lose his life or her life out on the racetrack. And when got out of that race vehicle and stepped onto the racetrack in order to show his bravado, his macho-ness, his manliness, whatever you want to call it, and his displeasure towards Tony Stewart, he took his life and put it in jeopardy, more so than he did when he got in that race car. It's a risk that nobody asked him to make. It's a risk that Kevin Ward decided to do. Kevin Ward made the decision, I will get out of this race car. Kevin Ward made the decision, yes, I'm going to go run and point at Tony Stewart as he drives by. And Kevin Ward, unfortunately, made the decision to take 3 steps down the racetrack, down the racing grooves, towards the inside of the track, and point towards Tony Stewart as he drove by. Unfortunately, I think those final 3 steps that he took down the racing groove and down towards the inside of the racetrack ultimately was it sealed his fate, unfortunately. It was an accident. I don't think Tony Stewart meant to do it. I don't think Kevin Ward meant to be run over, obviously, but I think it's something that was just an accident. It was the accident itself, the initial contact between the 2 drivers, was simply put one of those racing deals. But when you look at it, whenever you walk out onto the racetrack, you're putting your life in danger. Kevin Ward put his life in danger, and while it's shocking that it happened, it's not a complete surprise that one driver was run over by another when he got out of his race car and walked into the racing groove and into traffic. This has happened before. NASCAR drivers do it all the time, but it's something that they shouldn't do. I'm not condoning a NASCAR driver getting out of his vehicle and pointing and screaming at another driver. It does make for one heck of a show for the fans. And yes, NASCAR was built on, quote, the fight, unquote, back in 1979, in which 2 drivers got out of their car in the Daytona 500 and started physically fighting. And yes, they did end up on the ground with several men trying to pull them apart. That made NASCAR. NASCAR was built on fighting. But race car versus human being, race car will win 10 times out of 10. And unfortunately, it won this time. but nobody truly was a winner in this one. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Ward family. We truly, truly are thinking about you, and most of us cannot understand what you are going through, but our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to you nevertheless this evening. We're going to go ahead and take a break here. When we get back, we will start the show, and we will talk about everything that's going on in racing, a lot of NASCAR news, 3 races remaining. The final 3 races in the IndyCar Series kick off actually this weekend in Milwaukee. We'll hear from Helio Castroneves as to what he thinks about his chances at that racetrack this weekend. Plus, NHRA wrapping up here soon with their regular season. We'll break it all down for you. Don't go anywhere. You're shifting gears right here on ARN.
This is ARN, the American Racing Network.
I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of people are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if I'm speaking a foreign language to you right now, don't worry. A lot of people have trouble with it, but you should not be one of them. If you're looking to get your business online, and if you're looking to build a stronger web presence online in order to build more customers and to sell more product, log on to apolloaesthetics.com. Not only will they help build a brand new custom website for you, but they'll help set you up with Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts in order to build your customer base and get your product out there for people to see. Everyone's online and everyone has a smartphone. Does that free custom website that you can build really work on an iPod or an iPad? Well, Apollo Aesthetics build websites that not only are capable of working, but work with all kinds of smartphones and mobile devices. Log on to apolloaesthetics.com not only to see all the services that they offer, but to request a quote to get your business online today. It's apolloaesthetics.com.
What is one NASCAR Unites wristband capable of doing? It can inspire a child to go farther in school. It can construct a brand new playground for kids who've never had one. It can introduce a child with a serious illness to his or her favorite NASCAR driver.
I'm Tony Stewart, and I wear my band to Unite for Kids. Band together with me by logging on to www.nascar.com/unites to pledge your support.
Hello fans, this is Bud Selig, Commissioner of Major League Baseball. I know firsthand about the dangers of skin cancer and the need to protect yourself because I am a skin cancer survivor. MLB, its clubs, players, and the American Academy of Dermatology want all of you to play Sun Smart. Protect yourself with sunscreen, sunglasses, and protective clothing, and visit your doctor regularly. For more information, visit MLB.com or playsunsmart.org.
Shifting Gears on ARN is presented by Stash Feed. Get the feed. Log on to stashfeed.com, your daily manly feed. You're Shifting Gears on ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Here's Alan Bailey.
This one coming to us on Twitter. Hey, Alan, any evidence of Kevin Ward Jr. getting out of the race car before this incident? Well, actually there was, and I hate to continue on with this topic, I truly do, because a young man is dead. I think that's the most important thing, and I can only reiterate that so many times, but you look at it, his father, when he did speak to a local newspaper earlier today in New York, did say that that Kevin Ward Jr. had previously gotten out of his car and approached other drivers following wrecks. It was kind of his standard MO, but anybody who raced with him knew that. I think that that is actually a huge chunk of evidence. I mean, again, I hate to harp on a person that is no longer with us. I hate to harp on somebody who, frankly, is having his visual today and his funeral tomorrow, but the fact of the matter is even though fellow racers describe him as a fierce competitor but one who could joke after the race, the fact of the matter is yes, he had a hothead. He was a hothead. He got out of the race car constantly, and he would constantly go to the driver who wrecked him and point a finger and get mad and charge at the car, quote unquote. And this is just Kevin Ward Jr. being Kevin Ward Jr. Eventually, if you're going to continue to charge at race cars, and if you're going to continue to put yourself in that kind of very, very real danger, you're going to get hurt. Tony Stewart, unfortunately,
was the person that hurt him. If this was, God forbid, if this was another driver who had nothing to do with NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing, especially Tony Stewart, then frankly, we would not be having this conversation. We really would not. We would be talking about the fact that A.J. Allmendinger won the Glen over the weekend and made the chase, and that maybe the chase is already failing, not even fully into this season. So there's other evidence, there's other things that we can talk about, but ultimately we're going to focus on the fact that because Tony Stewart does quote-unquote have a hot head, unquote, that he must be the culprit behind everything that we've seen in all this situation, that Tony Stewart must have quote-unquote had it in for Kevin Ward Jr. after they had that one altercation. I don't buy it for 1 second. Now, am I going to sit here and actually say that Tony Stewart probably didn't have a little hate in him? No, because I don't know what Tony Stewart had in him. I don't know if Tony Stewart was angry at Kevin Ward Jr. I don't even know if he saw him or not. Nobody does. Only Tony Stewart knows that. Now, the fact of the matter is, we can't sit here and poke and prod and pry into Tony Stewart's life and to what he's thinking. The reason being, he's part of an ongoing police investigation. This is still very, very real. It's still something that is very fresh. It's still something that police are investigating. And yes, if they find something that proves otherwise of what they currently have, then yeah, Tony Stewart could be looking at 10 years in jail. Is it likely? No, it's extraordinarily unlikely. I think that there's even a greater chance of me being brought up on charges of involvement with Kevin Ward Jr.'s death than Tony Stewart at the moment, to be perfectly honest. But things could change. Tony Stewart can hold a press conference tomorrow, for all we know, and say, I did have it in for him. I was upset. I shouldn't have done this. And it turns out he did have it planned. It was premeditated, but that's not the case. Tony Stewart, in his press releases, has said, I'm very sorry, I'm hurting, I'm in a lot of agony over this, and everybody who's close to him is telling me the same thing. I know tons of people who were near him, personal friends of his, and they're all telling me, although none of them want to go on the record, as saying that Tony's very broken up over this. And why wouldn't he be? You'd have to be a robot in order to not feel pain or remorse over this. Yes, Stewart feels like crap. He killed another human being, unfortunately. I don't think he meant to do it, but his actions led to the death of another human being. It ultimately means that I'm not saying NASCAR needs to step in and do something. I'm not saying the police need to step in and do something. But maybe this is the wake-up call for Tony Stewart saying, maybe I don't need to be racing every other Saturday night. Maybe I don't need to be racing these dirt races. Maybe I don't need to be racing other races, period. Just stay within the NASCAR scope. And that's what a number of drivers are saying. A number of different ones. Brad Keselowski spoke earlier today, actually, saying that he stays within the NASCAR umbrella when he wants to race other than in the Sprint Cup Series. He says that he specifically does not race outside of his series. The reason being is his team owner is very strict about that. He's never raced outside of the Sprint Cup Series or the Truck or Nationwide Series because Roger Penske, the team he drives for, is very, very strict about this sort of thing. And another point that Brad brought up earlier today in a conversation he had with a number of media outlets was that something that you have to remember, and this is a very excellent point, Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, because they're teammates and they both work for Penske, are basically responsible for the well-being of over 250 employees. Penske has over 250 employees, and all 250 plus employees, their salaries are based off of the winnings and the profits of that race team. If they're winning every single week, they're going to be pretty well taken care of. But if they're wrecking cars every week, not going to be well taken care of so much. I think that these drivers, most of them anyway, feel that responsibility. They sense, hey, these 200 plus other people are responsible. I'm responsible for them. I'm responsible for their paychecks. I'm responsible whether or not they're going to bring home a decent paycheck to help pay their rent, put food on the table for their families, and provide for them. I think almost every single one of those Cup drivers feels the weight of that responsibility on their shoulders. Tony Stewart is an owner. I'm not saying I don't think he feels that. I think he absolutely does as an owner because he's the one writing those checks every single week. I think he frankly doesn't see himself as the driver. I think he sees himself as the owner. And yeah, Gene Haas is there, so he's got a secondary owner. I think he sees himself as kind of that owner-driver, which he is, in which he can go out and have fun and, hey, if I mess up in the boardroom, Gene's going to take care of it. And A, if I mess out on the racetrack, don't worry, because Ryan Newman, or excuse me, if not Ryan Newman, that was last season. Hey, if I mess up on the racetrack, Kurt Busch, Danica Patrick, and Kevin Harvick will pick up the slack, and we'll still be able to take care of our 250-plus employees. We'll be fine. I think that goes through Tony Stewart's head just a little bit, which it should. He's a very successful driver, very successful businessman, and he's honestly earned his right to have that feeling a little bit, I think. He, at some point, is going to hang up his helmet and at some point going to retire from the Cup Series. And when that happens, he's going to continue on as an owner. He's not going to back out of the sport simply because, well, I have everything that I need and I don't need anything else. No, I do not believe that to be true for 1 second. But if you don't believe me, listen to what Sheriff Philip Palou from Ontario County, the Ontario County Sheriff's Department, said Monday, actually, during a press conference about the investigation.
The investigators have talked to persons that have some relevant factual information that is of value to the case. The people that have been contacted have been cooperative, have firsthand knowledge, and hopefully this will help us come to a final conclusion on the circumstances behind this terrible tragedy. The officers working on the accident reconstruction also are making progress in evaluating the data that was retrieved at the crash scene on the racetrack, again, on Saturday night into Sunday morning. The autopsy on Mr. Ward was conducted today. The Ontario County Coroner has stated the cause of death was massive blunt trauma, and he has also issued a statement that at this time there will be no other further information released regarding the autopsy. The Office of Sheriff continues to look for any additional information that may be out there regarding videos or eyewitness accounts. We have 2 videos that have been reviewed, and we are actively seeking, besides internal staff to analyze, we're looking also for persons outside that are familiar with racing, that are familiar with dirt racing, that can help us review and analyze these tapes to hopefully clearly understand the crash and determine as much facts as we can for it. As I've said, there are no timelines set on this, although we certainly want to complete this investigation as quickly as possible. Right now, we continue to work as expeditiously and efficiently as we can in an effort to locate and evaluate any relevant information that may exist regarding this particular investigation. So, with that being said, we appreciate your continued interest, and we will try to be as timely as we can providing information to the media regarding this investigation. I would again reiterate, as we did last night, we continue to collect facts and information. The District Attorney's Office has continued to be supportive and review information that we have gathered relative to this crash at Canandaigua Motorsports. Again, as we speak at this time, there are no facts that exist that support any criminal behavior or conduct or that any probable cause of a criminal act in this investigation. Again, I repeat that this is an open investigation. What I have just said is not indicative that the investigation is over or conclusions have been made, but that it is open and that we are continuing to gather all information. But again, we are continuing to be asked about criminal charges. No criminal charges have been placed against anyone, and there are no facts at this point that would support probable cause of any criminal behavior.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth right there. That is the sheriff of the Ontario County Sheriff's Office right there, investigating the obvious Tony Stewart incident up there with Kevin Ward Jr. losing his life on Saturday night. Straight from the horse's mouth. Right there. That was Monday right there. Nothing has really changed. The only thing that has changed is them saying it's going to take about 2 weeks in order to come up with their findings, which is standard. It takes time. Somebody has died. They need time to get all their facts straight. And there's a lot of things that need to happen in between that time. Kevin Ward Jr., again, losing his life at the age of 20 on Saturday night in upstate New York during a sprint car race in which he exited his vehicle and was then run over by Tony Stewart's sprint car on the racetrack. Now, that was this last weekend. You rewind the clocks 25 years ago. We lost Tim Richmond. And a lot of people don't know who Tim Richmond is. A lot of people remember him very well. Tim Richmond was a superstar. A lot of people think he might have been before his time because he was NASCAR's playboy, so to speak. He was the partier, he was the joker, he was the clowner, but yeah, he could wheel one hell of a race car, and he went toe-to-toe with Earnhardt a time or two and came out on top more often than not, even though Earnhardt did end up winning a lot more championships than Tim ever did. Tim never got that championship, but he had a good amount of race wins in the Cup Series. It was 25 years ago today that we lost Tim Richmond. And although he's been gone, his memory still exists with us. What could have been if Tim Richmond stayed with us? Would he have altered the history books? A lot of people think so. I tend to be one of them. Tim Richmond would have rewritten history. He would have won at least a few championships and several more wins, at least 50 in his lifetime, presumably, if he lived to a ripe old age and raced during that time. He was partnered with Hendrick Motorsports, drove that number 25 Chevy with Folgers on the hood, and he was extraordinarily competitive. Ultimately, it was the AIDS virus that got him, and his lifestyle did contribute to it. He lived in New York City, had a party boat down in Miami, and was often called Hollywood because of his lavish lifestyle. But it was his racing out on the track that got everyone's attention in NASCAR. 25 years later, we remember Tim Richmond for the driver he was on the track.
The battle is for second position, and look at Tim Richmond go inside Earnhardt. Look at Richmond to lose the lead to Tim Richmond at the start-finish line. Richmond moves into the lead.
And here's the battle for the front position. Tim Richmond takes it.
Richmond across the finish line. The checkered flag to win.
Tim Richmond wins the Southern 500.
No one's going to touch Tim Richmond as he looks for the checkers for the 6th time this year. Dale Earnhardt takes second.
I respect Dale Earnhardt as a driver most of the time, more than anybody. Really do, and that's the truth.
He knew Earnhardt was the intimidator. That's what he was called, and so Richmond's goal was to intimidate the intimidator.
Off Earnhardt's car. There is Tim Richmond. Stickler nose right up on the back bumper. Let's see who's going to give here. Somebody will have to. Richmond takes first. Tim Richmond moves to the inside. Dale Earnhardt gives him room. Richmond takes the advantage.
One of the best compliments Tim Richmond ever got came from Dale Earnhardt. He slapped me on the back and he said, hey, he said, you better bolt everything down real good on that race car. Because that man you got's driving hell out of it.
Richmond for closing this season in just dramatic style. Race after race, he's been the story. The 1986 Winston Cup Stock Car Championship season is over. The man who is champion, Dale Earnhardt. Its most successful driver is Tim Richmond. This is the guy who won more races this year than anybody else.
Someone had said at the beginning of the season to you that you were going to win 7 Winston Cup races and finish third in the points, and a darn strong third. What would you have told them?
That's not enough. That's not enough. We want to win more. I'm not greedy. I'm just stingy, and I'd like to win some more. I want a championship. I want a Winston Cup championship.
This is ARN, the American Racing Network.
In today's day and age where every phone has a camera in it, everybody thinks they're a photographer. Whether they're putting stuff online on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, they think they know what they're doing. But when it comes to hiring a professional photographer, you need someone with years of experience and the professional equipment that is necessary in order to capture a professional shot. Not a smartphone with some filter on Instagram. You need a professional with years of experience and photoshopping skills. There's only one place to go, and that's Self-Destruct Photography. Log on to facebook.com/self-destruct photography in order to check out their portfolio of work, plus get in contact with them to set up a date for your photo shoot. Whether you're looking to get some 8x10s done if you're an actor or a professional, or if you're looking to get some family photos done to capture a moment forever, or if you need to get some graduation photos done that didn't turn out so great the first time around, or even if you're getting married, call my man Scott because he'll set you up. That's Self-Destruct Photography. Don't miss your shot with Scott.
What is one NASCAR Unites wristband capable of doing? It can inspire a child to go farther in school. It can construct a brand new playground for kids who've never had one. It can introduce a child with a serious illness to his or her favorite NASCAR driver.
I'm Tony Stewart, and I wear my band to Unite for Kids. Band together with me by logging on to www.nascar.com/unites to pledge your support.
The odds of having a boy who grows up loving baseball,
1 in 6,
which earns him a college scholarship,
1 in 2,500,
that gets him a contract in the minors,
1 in 3,700,
which leads to starting shortstop in the majors,
1 in 290,000.
The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism,
1 in 150. You know the odds. Now learn the signs. Go to autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Shifting Gears on ARN is presented by Apollo Aesthetics. Log on to Apollo Aesthetics to start building your new website today. You're Shifting Gears on ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Here's Alan Bailey.
The monumental pressure that some of these drivers have to be under right now has got to be amazing. Especially Marcus Ambrose.
We're not thinking about the chase. We're just thinking about winning this race.
How about A.J. Allmendinger?
Everybody just do their thing. Do the best for it.
Race number 22 of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is under the green flag.
Stewart to the lead. Ambrose back in second. I got a beanbag that just flew out from underneath my seat. Got a pin. Pin this time. You're going to have to get in the car. There's 2 of them. Can't stop, can't turn, can't go. Just add that to the wrong today. Windshield race through. Tony, bring him, Tony. Go, 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 go. Stop. Our fuel is in there. Stop and go when we come back. How about we just stop and not go? Come on, man. Into a stop. We're going to top you off with the fuel. You're not allowed. What the? If it's stop and go, you're not allowed to touch the car. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's right, Dave. Two officials here tell me I can add fuel. 18's got fresh tires. He just served the penalty also, and he's pissed off at the world.
Kyle Busch had a lot of smoke coming out of the back of his car.
Oh, we got... Look at the big screen. Tried to let him get in there. I don't know what I was supposed to do.
Problem for the pole sitter, Jeff Gordon.
Engine just died. Cycle your switches. Dead. I've done everything. Got no power. Just cut off clean. All the power just instantly went out. Wreck it. Back it down. Holy. What a wreck, man. This will take a while. There's a big hole in the guardrail. This is going to be a while. A long while. You all right, McNee? You all right? Yep. Oh, boy. Take a breath there. Take a breath. But I'm hurting.
We're calling all race fans back to their spot. We're getting ready to go back under the green flag.
I'm going to expect the majority to come down pit road. It's going to be lap number 58.
Gas only, go on.
The call has been made gas only for Allmendinger. So Allmendinger should be one of the first cars off of pit road. And yes, he will be.
Fuel only. 2 seconds. Go on me. Go. 1 lane.
Maybe the turning point of the race for Marcos Ambrose.
P9 on this restart, Marcus.
And finally, green flag is back in the air here at Watkins Glen.
Earl Edwards brings the field up the back straightaway, and here he comes, braking and downshifting. A.J. Allmendinger is hot to trot right on his back bumper.
Now here comes A.J. under braking down to the inside in turn number 1.
He outbrakes Edwards masterfully. A.J. Allmendinger away with the lead.
Marcus Ambrose. Marcus trying to get all he can.
He'll take over the number 2 spot.
Keep it up. Nice and smooth. Let me drive.
Dinger's car starting to kick a bit wide at the exit of turn number 5.
And that is where Marcus Ambrose can really make up some ground.
70-77. He got him by 10 that time.
We have a caution flag.
I think we got him here. He is really close on gas. You should be good here. He's really worried about you. Save gas. Save all the gas you can. Shut it down.
9 to go at the Glen. It's A.J. Allmendinger and Marcus Ambrose. Green flag. And A.J. gets the jump. No false start there for a moment.
One car into Jimmy Johnson.
Caution flag flies for the 4th time.
Really ran down that stock, George. Don't have to tell you. I'm telling her, Marcus.
47's the control car. Keep a nice even start here. I'd hate to get the play.
The tower said we want a good restart here, so they paid attention to it.
Fasten up the seatbelts. We're about to go into the final 5 laps at Watkins Glen. Green flag. It's in the air, and A.J. is gone.
Clear. Come on.
Crossover by Marcus Ambrose. He's to driver's right, and they're side by side. Through the S's, leaning on each other, slamming doors. Ambrose will beat Allmendinger to the interlude.
Go.
Allmendinger now will fall to second. Everybody's off in the grass.
Hit your mark there. You're way better than he is. Hit your mark.
We have got a caution flag.
Big wreck off of 11. Caution's out. We are the leaders. Keep saving it. We're the best there is now. Let's do it.
A.J. Allmendinger, Marcus Ambrose up front.
Stay in your lane. Clear.
A.J. again with a good jump. Pulls out by a car length in front of Marcus Ambrose.
Just you and him there.
Allmendinger slinging that car. Ambrose to the inside. They make contact. Here comes Ambrose to the bottom of the racetrack.
Allmendinger slides up. Maintains the race lead.
Come to the white. White flag right here. Clear about 4. Hit your mark, man. Hit your mark.
Trying to be the little team that could. Allmendinger is pulling away.
It is all A.J. Allmendinger at the front of the field. He'll score his first career win in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series.
Bring it to me, baby. Bring it to me. I love you guys.
And we love you, AJ. AJ Allmendinger over the weekend. An amazing battle right there over the weekend with Marcus Ambrose right there Sunday at Watkins Glen. His very first NASCAR Sprint Cup Series victory after a very tumultuous career in NASCAR, to put it bluntly and lightly at the same time. AJ at one point was suspended 3 years ago he was suspended, and now he's in victory lane at Watkins Glen, qualifying for the 2014 chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series later this year. Truly, it's a complete 180 in his career. It truly was, considering at this point 3 years ago, it looked like he was never going to race in NASCAR again. And the fact of the matter is he was with some pretty stinky teams, to be polite. But the fact of the matter was, at one point, for a very long time, he was racing for free. When he was with, at the time, Evernham Motorsports, he was racing for free.
The team was more or less bankrupt, and they did not have the funding, even though they had sponsors, in order to get the cars to the racetrack. And ultimately, AJ stepped in and said, you know what, guys? Don't worry about paying me. Just bring me some cars to the racetrack. I'll get myself there. And that's what he did. That's precisely what he did. He would literally charter jets and planes and flights, literally bum a jet ride with some of his friends in the Cup Series, and ultimately would get to the racetrack no matter what it took and race on Sunday and then somehow find a way home Sunday night. And ultimately he did that for a little more than a year. And guess what? It paid off. It always has paid off for AJ, and it's finally paying off in a big way. It truly is. So we will see what happens with AJ Allmendinger in the latter parts of this season. I don't know if he's a championship hopeful that's going to be a sleeper, but we'll see what happens with AJ. Truly, I don't know. One tends to think, maybe he is the little race team that could go all the way. Who knows? We'll see later on in this season. Now, we're going to go ahead and take our final break here. When we get back, we'll talk racing, because so much of this program has been devoted to death, destruction, and mayhem. Let's actually talk some racing. Who'd have thunk it? Racing on a racing show. Huh. Crazy, I know. Don't go anywhere. You're shifting gears right here on ARN.
This is ARN, the American Racing Network.
Okay, so let's say that you're trying to build a website for free on one of these website builders. You go ahead and spend hours uploading your personal information and all of the photos that you've taken of your products, only to find out that you can't bring a .com onto that website without paying a huge fee. And you can't remove those ads without paying a huge fee. And you can't remove all of those pesky "this website was built for free" buttons without paying a huge fee. By the time you've paid all these fees, you've paid thousands of dollars in order to remove all of these pesky ads. Why go through all the hassle? Why spend all of those hours doing it yourself? Go ahead and log on to ApolloAesthetics.com, not only to request a quote to build your brand new website and to see a rendering of what your website could look like, but in order to set up services like email, hosting, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram accounts, and a whole lot more. That is Apollo Aesthetics and ApolloAesthetics.com.
Army Specialist Andrew Pike became paralyzed while serving in Iraq.
My injury was a gunshot wound to the left abdomen from a sniper. My first contact with paralyzed veterans was in Walter Reed.
Paralyzed Veterans National Service Officer Michael Killen.
We try to reassure them what benefits are out there, try to educate them and take some of that stress away from them.
Right now I'm going back to school to earn a degree, and I'm just spending time with my wife and child.
You can help our paralyzed veterans. Visit pva.org.
That last apartment looked more like a tool shed.
That's because it was a tool shed, dear. I thought I'd show you the less than desirable apartments first because your credit is less than acceptable. But no worries, plenty of apartments. Let's try this one.
It's a broom closet.
Don't be silly, dear. It was a broom closet. Now it's apartment 3AA.
Potential landlords can and will check your credit before giving you a lease. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
Shifting Gears on ARN is presented by Stash Feed. Get the feed. Log on to StashFeed.com, your daily manly feed. Your Shifting Gears on ARN, the Motorsports Authority. Here's Alan Bailey.
Hey, Alan, how's that NASCAR show coming for you? Oh, wait, it's not. Yeah, it's been heavy on the NASCAR talk today, I'll admit that. Get in on this conversation by logging on to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Alan Bailey. Also use the hashtag ARNRace. This one coming on Facebook. Hey, host boy, when are you going to get to some IndyCar action? Right now, actually. Because you asked, I will talk IndyCar. Understand, a lot of this program is based on news and what has happened, and obviously big story in NASCAR, and the fact that IndyCar and NHRA didn't race over the weekend leads us to a NASCAR-heavy show on Wednesday. Sue me, or /megabyte me, whichever comes first. But you look at everything that happened over the weekend,
something that kind of got overshadowed was the fact that, or is the fact that there's 3 races left in the IndyCar season, 3 more weeks. Everything's wrapping up with the season finale here in Southern California at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. You can log on to autoclubspeedway.com in order to get your tickets for the MAV TV 500 weekend right now. I want to remind you, you can also listen to the ARN postseason show, which is a special edition of the Shifting Gears program, live from the Auto Club Speedway post-race out in Fontana. That show will be coming to you live from the Speedway. But right now, I want to take you back a week or so. I had a chance to talk to Helio Castroneves a week ago, and the interesting part was him talking about this, how the next 3 races will go for him.
Milwaukee is a strong place. However, we didn't have much luck. But last year, we finally break through 2nd place. And Sonoma, we already won there. So we know what we can do. And Fontana as well. So from now on, I feel that we have a strong scenario here that we can get back on the lead, or both myself and Will extend from the rest of the guys.
That's the ultimate goal. They're racing for the same owner, so basically they're teaming up, so to speak. I did talk to him last week. You can listen to last week's edition of Shifting Gears and that interview with Helio Castroneves by logging on to arnrace.com and downloading the podcast from last week's Shifting Gears, or you can go on iTunes and keyword search Shifting Gears or ARN, and you can download the program there as well. But the thing that I asked him was, hey, are you guys still sharing information? Are you guys still talking to one another as if this championship isn't looming over your head? Or are you guys starting to kind of save some information from each other and kind of looking at each other like you're the enemy? Or is it business as usual? And he basically said, it's business as usual. We're one team working towards winning this championship. And that's an excellent and deadly approach to look at it for the rest of the competitors. I think that they're definitely shotgun right now on the field in order to win this championship, but I don't know. Milwaukee this weekend, you have Sonoma next weekend, and then you have Fontana. Those 3 races are 3 completely different racetracks, and you could have 3 completely different winners, and truly anything can happen in these next 3 weeks. Anything. Flat tire, miscommunication on pit road, incident on the racetrack, mechanical failure. There's so many variables that can go unaccounted for, unanticipated on the racetrack that I can't sit here and call on August 13th. I can't say so-and-so is going to win the championship. Give me 2 weeks. I might have a little bit clearer of a picture, which, by the way, Wednesday, not this coming show, but the following one, Wednesday the 27th of August, there is an IndyCar test that's going to be happening out at the Auto Club Speedway. And yeah, we're going to be out there. I'm going to be interviewing people. I encourage you to listen. It's going to be good. I assure you. Very good. So very good. But we're going to be talking with everybody who's down in the media center next Wednesday, hopefully live during this program. If not, we'll see. We're still waiting to see if times can match up where we can get certain drivers. They're very, very, very busy people, and they're trying to, win a championship. So they have a couple of other things on their mind other than talking to me. So, I know I'm popular. I know I'm at the top of their list, but let's face it, getting the car right for Saturday night for the finale/championship race, that's a little higher than talking to me, unfortunately. I know. It's a shocker. I know. But it's true. Okay? Believe it or not. Alan, do you think we'll have an update on Tony Stewart by the end of today or tomorrow? As far as Tony competing this weekend in Michigan, I don't know. I don't think you're going to know until either tomorrow, sometime during the day, or Friday, frankly. I think that frankly, Stewart has already made his decision whether he will race or not. That's his decision. His sponsors, his team, has already said that it's his decision, but whether or not we find out what his decision is, I don't know when that will happen. I can guarantee you, though, when the green flag drops at Michigan for the Cup race on Sunday, we'll know who's in that 14 car. We'll know. But no, I don't know who's in it. Regan Smith filled in over this last weekend, very last minute. He did a bang-up job, but you look at it, the Nationwide Series is in Mid-Ohio this weekend. The trucks and the Cup cars are in Michigan. I don't know. Things could get interesting. Next weekend, it's Bristol. So everything's a little different, a little bit wonkier, so we'll see what happens ultimately. I honestly can't say, yes, it's going to be this, no, it's going to be this, because I don't know. I'll tell you this, though. 1 week from tonight, things are going to get interesting. We're coming at you at a very special time. We're coming at you at 3 p.m. Pacific. That's 6 p.m. Eastern, because we're getting you ready for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race from Bristol. Gotta love some Wednesday night truck racing at the world's fastest half mile, the Coliseum, my friends, the Bristol Motor Speedway. It's going to be wild and crazy, and we'll have it all for you 1 week from tonight. That's August 20th. At 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 Eastern, right here on ARN. Now, you look at everything else that's going on. You have Michigan this weekend for the trucks, Mid-Ohio in the Nationwide. You have the Cup cars in Michigan as well. Looking at the ARN racing calendar on arnrace.com. You also have the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals this weekend. And oh, by the way, you have that ABC Supply Wisconsin 250 IndyCar race out at that wacky racetrack where things are going to get crazy this weekend. We'll see what happens. 3 races to go in that series, a handful of races to go in the NHRA before the countdown begins. This is crunch time. This truly is where everything's going to happen. Now, everything's kind of wacky, and so is this show, so we're doing things kind of backwards today because of the Tony Stewart news, so we will bring you our hot topics at this point. Martin Truex Jr.'s girlfriend has ovarian cancer. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed earlier this week. Martin Truex Jr. will miss Friday's practice qualifying session at the Michigan International Raceway to be with his girlfriend, who will be undergoing surgery for ovarian cancer this Friday. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and the friends of his girlfriend, Sherry Plaux, who will undergo surgery this weekend. Best of luck to you, honey. We're pulling for you to come out on top. Kevin Harvick's team has been penalized due to leaving those beanbags in the race car, of all things. No points or anything of that nature, but we know that right now the penalty is because of those beanbags left in the car. Basically, $25,000 to crew chief Rodney Childress because of that. Also, the 98 team for unapproved fuel canisters over the weekend, and this is basically a warning for that team as well in the Cup Series. We found out today that Mars renewed with Joe Gibbs, Kyle Busch, and with NASCAR. They announced that they've signed a new multi-year deal with Joe Gibbs Racing and with NASCAR to further prolong their official candy of NASCAR. No word if it's with Kyle Busch or with another driver, but sources are telling me that that has yet to be determined. Very interesting. And yes, we are hearing reports, and you can read the quotes online, that Kevin Ward Sr. not happy, obviously, a very angry Kevin Ward Sr. calling out Tony Stewart for not seeing his son and for being so close to him on the racetrack. You can read those quotes right now on arnrace.com. Also, looking in this wonderful championship battle in the IndyCar Series, Ryan Hunter-Reay's 8th IndyCar start at Milwaukee. He has 3 victories, and he's led almost 400 laps. And yes, he does have 1 pole and 5 top 10 starts in those 8 races. Can he get it done this weekend at the Milwaukee Mile? We'll see this weekend at Milwaukee. That race coming at you on Sunday. And the new Indy Lights cars are a big topic of discussion, and the new Indy Light cars are combining form and function, believe it or not, and yes, it can be done. It's a big topic of discussion that everybody seems to have their eyes on. You can read the latest quotes and see the latest photos of the new Indy Lights cars right now on arnrace.com as well. And funeral service set for tomorrow with a candlelight visual tonight for Kevin Ward Jr., the driver who was killed Saturday in New York when NASCAR Cup Series driver Tony Stewart unfortunately ran him over when Ward Jr. got out of his race car and walked out onto the racetrack after they had an incident out on the racetrack. That is our Hot Topics, brought to you by our friends at Apollo Aesthetics. If you're looking for a brand new website, or if you're looking for a redesign on your website, or even if you just need some help with social media or to get your current website to work properly, or need some training, go ahead and log on to apolloaesthetics.com in order to request a quote to help build your website and fix the current one that you have. It's Apollo Aesthetics and apolloaesthetics.com.
And unfortunately, that's going to do it for this show. We're out of time. It's a wacky, wacky show with our news update coming right there at the end of the show. It's just wacky and all turned around. Again, our thoughts and prayers go out to Kevin Ward Jr. and his family at this hour. Again, he lost his life over the weekend. We're thinking about you. This is a tragedy. We will update you. Stay logged on to arnrace.com for the latest updates and to stay involved with everything that happens with this story as it happens. Also, you can follow the station at ARN Race on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest news on this Tony Stewart tragedy and whether or not he will be racing this weekend out at Michigan. Our thoughts and prayers also go out to Martin Truex Jr.'s girlfriend, who's going to be going in for surgery over this on Friday. It's the reason he will not be out at the racetrack. Miss Sherry Palox, our thoughts and prayers go out to you. We're truly pulling for you, and the racing community is standing behind you.
Check out
Get well soon.
ARNrace.com to keep up with the latest news, photos, podcasts, and interviews from the track. You've been shifting gears on ARN, the American Racing Network. Broadcasting from the ARN Racing Studios in Southern California, ARN Los Angeles. This is ARN, the American Racing Network.